Yeah. What's good, boxing fans? Uh, this video has basically taken a long time because try to give yourself enough time that we'll be sharing the ring with each other for the first time in about what is it, a week from now. And there's a lot of intangibles that are in this particular fight that I kind of want to go over, and I had to thoroughly assess before I, kind of give a prediction on what I think was going to happen in the ring. Um, at the end of the day, we can only hope for a great fight, and we'll see what happens when the fight takes place. But Manny Pacquiao, we already know who he is. We already know what he's accomplished in the sport. One of the best fighters that's going to ever come through this game, has fought so many big names in the sport of boxing, has conquered many divisions. I don't even need to go into his many accolades. We know what the man can do. Given the fact that he started out at flyweight and made it all the way to super welterweight, junior middleweight, that in itself is commendable. What's that, like 10 divisions or so? But like I said, he'll be going up against Keith Thurman, and Keith Thurman is a unified champion at welterweight. Uh, I got an I'm not afraid to let it go. Me beat me. Well, I guess what? They're gonna get a chance to get that done. Not this weekend, but I believe on the following weekend. But Manny Pacquiao, even though he's 40 years old, he still got them super, super fast hands. He's still one of the best punchers in the division. But one thing I wanted to point out, matter of fact, I'll make it two things. Manny Pacquiao is not the same Manny Pacquiao that we've grown accustomed to going through the the featherweight divisions, the lightweight divisions, the welterweights. He's not the same dude. You know what I'm saying? He's a 40-year-old guy, but still, at 40 years old, he's still one of the best in the division. He's still very formidable enough to be champion, formidable enough to take on these young top contenders and the other belt holders within the division. So, but one thing I also want to point out is in the last fight with Adrian Broner, I thought there was a lot of opportunities that were on the table for Broner to take full advantage of, but for one reason or the other, he just did not pull the trigger. I've said in the past that I believe that Adrian Broner fights like a 40-year-old man, even though he's in his 20s. He fights. I used to say he throws one punch at a time, but when I sat back to really assess what I was saying, every fighter throws one punch at a time, unless you throw a punch like this, and nobody fights like that. But what I will say about Adrian Broner is he's been fighting with one punch attacks as a young fighter, and a young fighter shouldn't fight like that. A fighter needs to run those combinations. Use your youth, use your exuberance, your speed, all the attributes that you have that old fighters don't have. But that was him trying to mimic his game after a 40-year-old man, which was Floyd Mayweather. But even a young Mayweather didn't fight like that. Something that Broner totally missed out on in his assessment of Floyd. What's going on, Ross Cloud, man? I'm trying trying to assess this fight, bro. I can't even read all these comments, man. Work with me here, all right? Anyway, I appreciate the support, bro. You always been around. You one of the first ones. You know what I'm saying, from back in the game. So anyway, man. But one thing I will give Manny Pacquiao is in this fight with what is that guy's name? The big puncher. It used to be a big puncher at 40. Matisse. One thing he did in the Matisse fight that he wasn't doing in many of his previous fights is he brought the element of unpredictability into the game. Why? Because we know Manny Pacquiao to throw that jab out there, not trying to dictate the pace of no fight behind no jab or anything like that, or control the pace. He's trying to find his range so he can come with a volley of punches right after it and darting out. That's what we know, the side movements, and he wasn't just darting in throwing punches. He was setting this guy up, and that to me is one of his complete performances. Even though it wasn't against a major guy, even though it wasn't a major event, even though it wasn't pay-per-view, HBO, this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? But like I said before, Manny Pacquiao being unpredictable is virtually one of the most unbeatable fighters in the world. Which we don't know which Manny Pacquiao is going to show up, but one thing we do know about Pacquiao is that he is still Pacquiao and he will be coming to fight. Fast hands, good punching power, and he's to be a little guy around 5'4", he's a little tough, scrappy motherfucker, man. So anybody think they about to get in the ring with Pacquiao and just bomb him out, you got to be mistaken because he's been in there with arguably some of the biggest punchers in the sport of boxing. He's been in there with much bigger guys. He's been in there with Antonio Margarito, who's a big puncher in the than him. We go back to, I believe it was Super Bantam when he fought Oscar Larios, who's taller and more rangier than him. So just having dimensions on him is not enough to carry you over the top. Work with me here. I'm not even making my prediction yet. I'm just kind of trying to assess the fight and how to look at it from as many angles as possible to get to a conclusion on how you're going to go, which way you're going to go in the fight. I have no dog in the fight. I ain't putting not nan piece of money on this shit, but I am going to watch it. But like I said, Pacquiao's been in there with much bigger guys. He's went from flyweight all the way to junior middleweight. That's also a division Keith Thurman has been at. He's fought there like 2 or 3 times, not against major guys, but he's tested the weight. I believe he fought get Diego. I think he fought Diego at 52. Like it's 148 to 154. That's junior middleweight. You don't have to weigh in at the limit, but once you weigh in over, damn, I don't know what's going on with the camera, but it should work now. I don't know what's up with that. Sorry about that. Anyway, like I said, there was a lot of opportunities in that fight with Adrian Broner, and he just could not pull the trigger. Now, could it be that Broner was kind of intimidating of the fact he was in there with a bona fide Hall of Famer? That could be. That could very well be the case. You know what I'm saying? But the fact of the matter is, the opportunities were there, and he did not pull the trigger. Now, when I think about Keith Thurman, one thing you ain't got to tell Keith Thurman to do is let his fucking hands go. When he's in the ring, it's bombs away. We've already know that he's taller than Manny, got longer reach than Manny. But one thing about Keith Thurman, even though he has his proper fundamentals, he don't always use his fundamentals. He uses fundamentals when he's in the ring. Like, he'll start off with a jab and set up nice combination punching. But once he finds his range, he's about to move around the ring. He's coming in with hooks, and he lands those hooks. You know what I'm saying? A very accurate puncher, as well as a very big puncher. So the opportunities to hit Manny Pacquiao is going to be there because Manny Pacquiao is not the hardest guy to hit. You can time Manny Pacquiao. We've seen that from in the past when he's fought against guys like Mayweather. When he fought, I mean, that's not really saying much. Mayweather times everybody. But he was able to be hit by Jeff Horn. He was able to be hit by Marquez. He was able to be hit by many guys that he fought. He just absorbed the punches, being a tough little guy, and always made it a competitive fight, if not a dominant outing. Anyway, but one thing that I think about when assessing Manny Pacquiao and his vulnerabilities in terms of how you can actually beat him, I think Marquez is the one who made the blueprint fairly simple for any. He will be moving. And a lot of people bring up the fact that Keith Thurman has been hurt before in the ring, whether it was to the head or whether it was to the body. He has. And I fully thought about that when trying to assess this fight. Keith Thurman probably does not have the biggest beard. What does that really mean? You got a nice beard. You got a nice chin. The whole point is to hit and not get hit. But he doesn't always absorb a big punch very well. But he has not been put down. He has not been stopped. And he, too, has been in the ring with big punchers. He's been in the ring with Swift Garcia, who we know he set you up for that left hand. It's all she wrote. It's all over. You know what I'm saying? Holla back. So another thing that we know about Keith Thurman is he has a lot of resolve when he's hurt. When he's hurt, he knows I got to do what I got to do to get my legs back up under me so I can potentially get back into the fight and swing it back in my favor so I can cruise to a victory or possibly put this guy down or knock him out. So when I think about the possibility that Manny Pacquiao will actually get to Keith Thurman, he may get to Keith Thurman. He may even hurt Keith Thurman. But like I said before, when Keith Thurman gets hurt, he has the intelligence and he has the skills to move around the ring, hold a guy, you know what I'm saying, and do whatever he can do to get his faculties about him so he can continue fighting. So I'm not gonna assess the fight or call it in Manny's favor on the premise that if he hits Keith Thurman, he's gonna automatically knock him out. Keith Thurman in his whole boxing career, whether professional or amateur, has only lost 6 times. You know what I'm saying? He won 101 and 6 in the amateurs. You know what I'm saying? He's undefeated as a pro. I mean, it's hard to just say, oh, this is going to happen to him when we have not seen on the tape of him being put down and him being knocked out. So it's hard to predict that Manny Pacquiao, he's going to touch him to the chin and knock him out. What's the likelihood of that happening? Prior to the Lucas Matisse fight, Manny Pacquiao had knocked somebody out since when? Cotto? So it's not always a guarantee that because Manny Pacquiao's in the ring, he's going to knock somebody out. But it is a guarantee he's going to touch him. So being as it may, one thing I give Keith Thurman is why I'm not automatically picking Manny Pacquiao to beat him is this too. Even though Keith Thurman got a lot of people feeling some type of way, me included, by the way he been talking, you know, he been talking greasy lately, but his actions ain't really been showing that he's that dude that he used to be. You know what I'm saying? You better not duck me, son. I got an I ain't afraid to let that go. I mean, most of his fans don't think he's that same guy. And they may be on to something with that. You know what I'm saying? And that his energy may change when Errol Spence's name gets brought up. Yeah, but that's Errol Spence. He don't be shook when he in front of Manny Pacquiao. He's not in awe of this guy at all. And one thing I will give Keith Thurman is Keith Thurman is a student of the game. If you ask him to break down a fight, he can bring those intangibles out. He can tell you what either guy needs to do to win, what either guy needs to do to not fall to defeat. You know what I'm saying? And I think the only reason why he is like that with Errol Spence because he hasn't fully decoded him yet. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said before, Errol Spence don't give up nothing. You know what I'm saying? He protects himself very well, especially for a guy who don't move. Don't move often. He coming right at you. He gonna put pressure on you. He gonna put that heat on you, and it's hard to hit this guy flush because he's always protected himself well, especially in close quarters. And I think that's the reason why Keith Thurman is reluctant to fight Errol Spence. But he's not fighting Errol Spence in one more week. He's fighting Pacquiao. And in his mind, being a student of the game, he knows the dimensions that he possesses over his opponent in order to get his game plan going and possibly beat Manny Pacquiao. That's why he's not shook when Manny Pacquiao's in front of him. That's why he'll tell Manny Pacquiao, I can't wait to bust you in your mouth. Because in his mind, he's already played this fight in his head probably as long as he's been chasing Floyd Mayweather. Because he's been wanting either one of them for so long. This guy has already had this fight in his mind from years ago. And now he gets his opportunity. Now, this is boxing, and you know me, I'm with all the old adages. You're only as good as your last fight. The good big man beats the good little man. I'm with all that. You know what I'm saying? I am. And Keith Thurman has had 3 fights in the last 4 years. He's been off for 2 years and had a tune-up fight against somebody he was supposed to look good against. Now, granted, I don't want to take no credit away from Josecito Lopez. We already know what he come to do. He gonna give everything he got. And if you're not prepared, you getting your ass beat. You know what I'm saying? Point blank period. So most people who already saw that fight being developed through press releases and stuff like that, we already knew that this fight was going to tell us exactly where Keith Thurman is. So instead of me bashing Keith Thurman, saying that he almost got beat by a guy who he was supposed to get knocked out by this, that, and the other. One thing I am going to do is say he did not get knocked out by this guy. That Josecito Lopez did what we thought he was going to do. He came to fight. He put that pressure on Keith Thurman. And Keith Thurman was fighting well until he got hurt. But again, like I said before, he got hurt and he did what he had to do to survive. So you got to give him credit for knowing what to do when facing adversity. That is a check in that category for Keith Thurman. So on the night of the fight, what do we know? We know Manny Pacquiao will be darting in. looking to throw a volley of punches. We also know, salute to everybody in the chat, man. I'm trying to get these thoughts together, man, because this is actually not the easiest fight to predict. Now, in my heart, I want to bash Keith Thurman for the way he been acting. He ain't been behaving like a professional prize fighter at the top of his game, a unified world champion, and this, that, and the third, not barring anybody. He ain't been behaving like that. So the boxing fan in me want to be like, you know what, man, Pacquiao finna knock that dude out. In fact, I initially thought Pacquiao was going to go in there and blitz right through him. You know what I'm saying? But when I really think about it, and I mean really think about it, I really think Keith Thurman may be on to something. Keith Thurman reminds me of Osalino Freitas in the way he fight, coming in with those hooks. You know what I'm saying? And he's a strong puncher, man. He's fast. He has great foot speed, and that's one of the one things that gives Manny a whole lot of problems is guys moving on him. I'll give you another example if y'all think Ash on that bullshit. Check this shit out. Remember when Pacquiao fought a shot Shane Mosley? You know what I'm saying? Once he hurt Mosley, what did Mosley do? Mosley was supposed to be knocked the fuck out because he was hurt, and I mean hurt bad. And when I mean hurt bad, I mean like Triple G versus Curtis Stevens hurt when he went down. Manny had that boy hurt. Mosley got up and just moved for the rest of the fight, and Manny was not able to find this guy. Why is that? It's because he got a problem with guys who are on the move. When Marquez fought him in the third fight, Manny Pacquiao could not find him. Why? Because he got a problem with guys who are on the move. He was trying to survive at the end of the fight. What did he do? He got on his bike. And even though he was hurt, I mean really hurt, he got on his bike and Manny was not able to really stamp this guy out like he wanted to. And it took the referee to stop it on a mercy call because Cotto was so damn hurt. Movement, man. Movement befuddles Manny Pacquiao. Even the little movement that Jeff Horn gave him befuddled Manny Pacquiao in a fight that Manny Pacquiao was supposed to look great in. Terrence Crawford knocked that motherfucker smooth out. Manny Pacquiao is a future Hall of Famer. Y'all know the blitz and hand speed. Y'all know the big punching power. You know what I'm saying? We've seen this several times over. So like I said before, man, when I'm assessing this fight, we know Keith Thurman is going to use his movement. He knows that is a great attribute that he has. That is a feather in his cap. He's going to come with fast hands and big punches, big hooks, and those hooks are going to see that target. Now, are they going to put Manny down? Perhaps. Perhaps not. I don't know. We got to see it. You know, Ash I can predict this motherfucker, you know, till I'm blue in the face. But we already know that the ring is going to sort these facts out. The ring sorts out the facts, and we're going to find out who's going to show up. But like I said before, Keith Thurman is a student of the game, and he's had a whole lot of time to assess how he's going to fight Manny Pacquiao. He's been studying Manny Pacquiao about as long as he's been studying Floyd Mayweather. He's been studying Manny Pacquiao's attributes. He's been studying Manny Pacquiao's vulnerabilities in the ring. Manny Pacquiao has not been studying Keith Thurman. Manny Pacquiao has seen so many world champions. To him, this is another outing. Straight up. He not at all bothered about anything Keith Thurman bring to the table, but that doesn't mean that victory is on the horizon simply because he's not scared of a guy, or simply because he's not weary of the big attributes that he has that made him a unified world champion at welterweight. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, man, I'm gonna go against the grain this time, man. That may ruffle a couple of feathers out there because everybody against Thurman right now. You know what I'm saying? I mean everybody. And really, he ain't got me on his good side either. Shelton Holmes, what's up, bro? My boy Natty Turner, what's up? Haplotype, what's good? Neutral, what's up, man? Man, I'm just trying to break this thing down the best of my ability. Like I said, this has not been one of the easiest fights to break down because it's too many intangibles in this thing. You know what I'm saying? But this is a young man's game, man. And even though Pacquiao is still Pacquiao, he's a 40-year-old man. And he's in there with a substantially younger man, 10 years his junior, a guy who's still in his prime. very fresh. I mean, he hasn't had a whole lot of ring wear. In fact, we only seen him been hurt to the I think to the head maybe once or twice. Once against what was it, Chavez or was it Soto Carras? One of them fighters. He hadn't taken a whole lot of punishment. He has everything to gain. And still and so, there is still no blueprint to beat Keith Thurman yet. There is no tape that they can watch and be like, that's the blueprint I'll use to defeat this man. Because even in the fights that he came up hurt, he was never defeated in the ring. Pacquiao has been defeated like 7 or 8 times. There are many blueprints that can be implemented. If one fails, Keith Thurman can go resort to another one. And it's not like Keith Thurman has a journeyman corner. Yeah, Manny Pacquiao has a Hall of Fame trainer in Freddie Roach in his corner. But last time I checked, Dan Birmingham been around the block once or twice. I mean, he was Winky Rice's trainer. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't like he didn't bring guys to world championships before. There's going to be a lot of intellect assessing in that ring in those corners, in both corners. And if I know Dan Birmingham gonna make sure he remind Keith Thurman, don't stop using the jab. Don't, because Keith Thurman will abandon that motherfucker and come with straight hooks. So I think this fight is gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be a lot of ebbs and flows in the fight. And even though Pacquiao is just as dangerous as he always been, I just don't think Pacquiao is gonna beat this guy, man. When I really think about it, and even my boy, what's up, Outside the Ropes, when I watched Ropes video, he got me thinking about it. I'm like, damn, I think Thurman may be on to something, man. I think this guy may be the guy to knock off Manny Pacquiao. And you know what? I'm not calling it no knockout, but I'm going to tell you like this. If Thurman wins a decision, it's going to have to be decisive. But given the way Manny fights, that darting in lines, you know what I'm saying, on the attack, and the fact that Thurman is always timing guys with hooks, I just see Manny's head ripe for the taking to be catching those big ass fucking hooks, man. I see him catching a lot of those fucking hooks. You know what I'm saying? He don't have the reach. He don't have these. He's 5'5". Thurman is 5'9". Manny Pacquiao got like a 2-inch reach. Thurman got a 69-inch reach. Thurman knows that. He knows that. And he gonna use it to his advantage, man. He not a dumb dude at all. This dude ain't trying to take no L's, even though he been acting like really suspect lately. You know the way he been behaving, but he not a dumbass dude, man. And I think this fight may be a fight where he reminds the fans who he is. You know what I'm saying? And that can only set up bigger fights in the future. The fight we all want to see is him against that boy. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, that don't mean it's a guarantee that fight gonna happen. I truly don't believe he really wants to share the ring with Errol Spence. And I think it's because he has not decoded Errol Spence. He don't know how he's gonna win that fight. That's the thing. That is the issue with him and Spence. But he's not like that when it comes to Pacquiao. He wasn't like that when it was with Sean Porter. He wasn't like that when he was with DSG. He is not shook. He's not weary of those guys whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? He's not fearing Manny Pacquiao. He's not in awe of him like Adrian Broner was. But I'm gonna end it with one thing though, and then I'm gonna go to the comments and see what you guys think. He's not weary of Manny Pacquiao at the moment, right? But Keith Thurman has never been under those bright lights before. This is the biggest fight he's ever been in. This is a pay-per-view event. That means more suits everywhere, more interviews. You know what I'm saying? Radio interviews, Breakfast Club, Sway. You know what I'm talking about? What's that comedian that got his own show? I don't fucking know. Like I said before, it's a big event. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's going to be talking about it. It's going to be promoted heavily. And people just have a weird way of reacting when they're in the biggest fight of their career. You know what I'm saying? The way he talking, the way he's been behaving, he seems like he's going to take it with a grain of salt. But I don't know, man. That those lights have a way of, kind of bringing the fear out of guys. You know what I'm saying? They're not used to the big atmosphere, and the magnitude of the event gets to them. But if he's the Keith Thurman that we know from the past, this is what he's always been trying to get to anyway. Because there is no bigger fight than the Mayweather fight, and that's the fight he's been after for I don't know how long. So let me check out some of these comments. Hold on. LDBC strong in this motherfucker. Um, yeah, he got more. I'm not gonna assess it based on Ness's interview. You know what I'm saying? Where he was acting out of character. You know what I'm saying? He's only doing that with one man. When it's with Manny, he's basically being the Keith Thurman that we remember. I ain't afraid to let it go. If you can beat me, I will son you. And he telling Manny Pacquiao that to his face. I don't see the fear there. I don't see him being shook or in awe of this guy. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like he don't know what Manny can do, what the skills that Manny possesses. He's well aware of all that, man. So I'm gonna go against the grain, fellas. I'm gonna go against the grain, and I'm gonna go with the youth. This is a young man's game, and Manny Pacquiao cannot continue to beat guys at the top level year after year after year after year after 40 years old. There's only very few guys that are able to maintain fighting at the top level after 40 years old. And hell, Tom gonna have to let us know that if Manny Pacquiao's up that clock. I mean, he's already done unthinkable shit in his career anyway. So it wouldn't surprise me if he wins the fight. I don't think he got this one, man. Like I said, initially I thought Manny Pacquiao was gonna win, but when I really assess all the intangibles in the fight and the things they do well and the things that bother those guys, I think there is a blueprint that Keith Thurman can use and beat this guy. You know what I'm saying? We already know Keith Thurman is one of the best guys in the ring as far as utilizing the whole ring, boxing on his toes, coming with big shots. You know? Yeah, he's an expert at breaking down fighters. He is. When he gets on the mic and he's assessing fights, he can tell you everything you need to know. That's why I said earlier in the video before it started fucking up, that he has so much time to break down Manny Pacquiao and how he would fight this guy. So I think it'd be a mistake if anybody thinks or anybody bets against Keith Thurman. But like I said before, just because I'm assessing a certain way, that don't mean it's gonna happen that way. You know, it depends on who executes their game plan the best, who had the best camp, and which cornermen are sharp enough to ingrain in their charge and their fighter what they need to do in the ring on the night of the fight. And we just have to see what happens on that note, man. But my prediction, man, I'm gonna have to change from what I was thinking from when we were at Fred's event over there in Pearland. I was talking with the fellas and I said I think Pacquiao got it. Now I'm changing my tune on there, man. I think Thurman got that thing. I think he's gonna win a decision, but it has to be decisive. But I think it's so many opportunities that will present themselves, and Keith Thurman ain't gun shy. He will let those fucking hands go. He will come in with big shots. He will let those bombs go. I just don't think he can knock Pacquiao out because I think Pacquiao is a tough, scrappy little motherfucker. But if he does knock him out, it'll be because Pacquiao ran into something. And I don't think that's beyond the realm of possibility in this fight coming up. I think Pacquiao can run into one of those heavy-ass hooks and he can be put the fuck out. You know, just like Marquez did it. You know what I'm saying? The blueprint is out there. We know his vulnerabilities. We know the things that he doesn't do so well. The blueprint is not out there to beat Keith Thurman yet. He has not been defeated as a professional. And even though he's been hurt, even though I said this previously, even though he's been hurt, he's found a way to recover and continue and stay in the fight. That's a great thing to have as a fighter. Even though we, guys making fun of him and stuff like that, I may even say something because, fuck it. I'm a fight fan. I say what the fuck I want. That's actually a good thing that he can do that. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like he's ducking big punchers. He's facing guys that can put him down. And he's not getting knocked out. He's not being, and whenever he does get hurt, he finds a way to get back into the fight. Haplotype said it's hard one to predict because of Keith's lack of fights in the last performance. If he weren't active, Keith, I'd pick him. Exactly. I mean, trust me, I thought about that too, because I'm with the old adages. You're only as good as your last fight. His last fight, he did not look good. But to me, Pacquiao ass didn't look too good in his last fight either. And there were opportunities to bang Pacquiao's head, and Broner couldn't do it. Broner fights like an old man. He throws one punch. He has one punch attacks when he should be running combinations the way his trainer has been telling him to do for the last I don't know how many years. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm leaning towards Keith Thurman. Matter of fact, I'm not even leaning. Keith Thurman's gonna win this fight by decision. If he don't, trust me, I'll be the first one to eat crow. You know what I'm saying? I'm not stuck on myself. Y'all know me, man. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But this is the way I see it, man. I mean, I don't think Pacquiao got this, man. So anyway, man, this went way longer than I thought. It took me to all the way to the last minute to fully assess this thing, and I still wasn't ready to make this video. That's how hard this one was to predict, because I try not to go with my emotions or feelings or the way I feel about a guy and try to keep it boxing. But yeah, man, I think Thurman beats Pacquiao, and that's probably going to be an upset. That'd be real big for him, and that'll set up future big fights. And no, we don't want to see no Keith Thurman and Sean Porter again or against Garcia again. He know what we want to see. If he beat Pacquiao, stop bullshitting and get in the ring with that boy. And shit, because he did everything you asked him to do in order to get a big fight with you. And then he became a pay-per-view attraction. There's no reason not to fight him, Supremacy needs to be defended in the ring. And this time it's at welterweight, and that's your division. That's the division you are atop of. So make it happen, Keith. But anyway, man, I appreciate all y'all for coming out. I'm going to keep trying to crank out these videos a whole lot earlier moving forward. And appreciate y'all stopping by. Hit the like button. Hit the notification button. And we'll see what happens in the future, man. Shout out to the whole LDBC. Shout out to Trill Boxing. Always showing me love. Shout out to 78 Black Fight Fans. Shout out to the homie Junior the Truth. Always show me love for non-international. Always show me love. D-Style, that's the homie. He always texting me. He always showing me love in the video. Anybody that fuck with Ashy Knuckles, man, I'll keep it 100 with you. It's to the bone, Grizzle. You heard me? And all right, man, I'm out. Be easy, man.